Hey, it's Ariel Anderson, and you are not alone on this path through fertility and pregnancy, midlife, in your life. And remember, numbers, they're not your age. They're not who you really are. So I want to start with that. If you're new here, I'm Coach Ariel Anderson. I've been working in conscious business and life, wellness, health coaching for eons. I won't say because, you know. Anyway, I'm really happy to have you here right now talking about midlife pregnancy over a certain age, getting pregnant. It's a brutal path. And you are not alone. And I know that there are days that you feel alone. And I just want you to know that we're in this circle together, whether you're here for the first time, great, subscribe, awesome. Let's come back again together. We do this every Friday at 10 in the mornings Pacific. Or, you're back and you know what this community is about. So basically, lately especially, and I don't know if it's with the shifts that are going on in the world, another S word that's going on in the world right now. It's so intense, it's so emotional, and on top of it, you're already on this really intense path. I mean, that's the truth of it. You are perhaps, at your own crossroads, even if you may or may not be staying in the same job, may or may not be staying in the same relationship, or maybe it's about your relationship to yourself, because as you progress through the line of life, things continue to evolve, whether you want them to or not. Sometimes I can say that it's very powerful to be in life as a human, as a woman, especially. You get this incredibly intense reality of the possibility of being a mother, a lover, a worker, a boss, so many things at once, where it challenges the soul, and it challenges the ability to just be able to sit back and, procreate, or, maybe, they're always, I think, over time, different realities, right? If in the cave times it was, don't get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger or the T-Rex, right? You had to run to your caves. You had to hope that you had food and fire and whatever else was going on. And then over time, it might be that certain people now or in the past, you might have the opportunity to have it all, to have a good life. Maybe you created it. Maybe you created it with your partner. Maybe they created it for you. Maybe it seems like you could just relax, sit back and have a baby, but it's not working out that way, maybe, right? I mean, I'm assuming if you're here, something's not fully aligned, and I'm happy for that, because that gives me the opportunity to lift you up, light the way, and remind you that you're not alone in this. Now, I chose this theme today because an incredible woman that I'm working with reminded me of the depth, the true pain of it when you're standing in a room full of people who don't get it. They don't get it. They don't fully get it. Like, they've already had their kids and, oh, it was easy, or they're younger and it just seems like everything is possible. And it is. Yet at this point in your timeline, which in some societies and circles starts really early. I can remember as early as late 20s. When I was in Czech Republic, people were being told they had to start fertility drugs. So it just depends. And here too, most of my friends, a lot of them were having kids, in their early 20s. I remember my mom was considered super old. She was 32. Granted, it was the 70s. However, and the 80s or whatever. But yeah. So I just want to remind you that, your perception of who you are is what matters. I was talking to another woman who I as well work with, and she was on fire, and it was this reminder. We were sort of pinging off of each other, and I was thinking, that's how I felt. I remember these big waves, and I'm wondering, does this, if you're here now or on the replay, I would love for you to throw something down in the comments, like, how do you feel right in this moment? Not the ideal version or the worst version, but just right exactly now. How do you feel? Do you feel like, hey, nobody can tell me what to do. This is what I've always known. I'm going to have a baby. How did my friend put it? Well, another guy, somebody I'm working with, he's like, they're the badass days, right? And then you kind of ebb, you're in that dip. And then the badass days, and then again. Okay, there we go. That's what it is. There are those days where you feel that way. And I remember vividly. And so I'm sitting here with you right now because I want to remind you that we're in this together. That even though you can't see, there are people around the world in your corner ready for anything with you that are also going through this. And I go into this memory of the days where you feel like you just didn't want to get out of bed. You didn't want to have to work. You didn't want to go see your friends, go play tennis, whatever it is. You just wanted to pull the covers up over your head and just cry because you couldn't understand. You were doing all the things right, maybe not perfectly. And that's where you beat yourself up, which is, again, just forget it. You're a human being. There are going to be moments when you do or eat or say things that aren't considered right, but they're right for you in that moment. Yeah. And it's okay to have those days where you pull the covers up over your head, right? Because you know that when you're ready to come out, we're out here. I'm out here. The world is out there. The possibilities are out there. The universe, God, God's goddess, whatever it is that you believe in, that you can connect in with, it's out there. It's ready when you are. And maybe you are ready. Maybe you are having your badass day. And people around you quietly are really inspired by you. They're inspired by where you are, how you're moving forward. They may not see the covers, under the covers days. Or maybe they do. And that's okay too. But just to remember, when you're having your badass days, harness that energy. Go into tapping in, take a couple breaths. Let's do it now, in fact. Taking a breath in and exhaling. And taking another breath in. Gathering all the knowledge that's available to you and exhaling all the crap that spins around in your head or comes at you that you don't need. And when you open your eyes, if you're not driving, and you come into this space, this badass space, the space where you're vibing in those moments where you feel sure. When you come back in, the sky is blue or you're ovulating or something happened that feels okay, that feels good, that's charging you, that's energizing you. In that moment, I want you to harness it. Take those breaths, tap in and say, what do I need to do next? That's it. What do I need to do? What's my next step? And don't use your brain. Listen to your body. What is your body telling you? Just tap in for a moment. Come here for ideas. Look around. Read things. Go for a walk. Don't do the typical things. Don't make yourself crazy by trying to figure it all out. You need to drop in to that deep trust of the information and receiving it. We talk so much about receiving. And then, you know what? You're going to dip again, and that's okay. We dip. That's humanity. You dip down, and it's give yourself permission to have those under the cover days because you're not alone, but you may feel that way sometimes. And that's part of it. But when you tap in and you start doing things on those days, you say, what's my next step? And something comes. It might seem crazy, or maybe it feels completely right. And you follow it, and you're going to notice that you feel more energized. You're going to notice that things start to come to you more and more. And that's part of, it's like being in love, but being in love with where you are in the moment. And even when it's dark, because both the dark and the shadow and the light, they need one another. And I just wanted to remind you of that. So we're here in that with the dips and the ups and yeah. I just wanted to say that. I'm also, it's been just pulling at me, and I've been talking about it for ages, about doing a membership. There's one more thing I want to say in a minute, and if that's something that's interesting for you, I would like you to write Ariel, Ariel, at imperfectparenting.net. If that's interesting for you, and we'll see what happens next. Yeah, because a lot of you have been asking me and I haven't been ready. And I can't say why, I just listen to my body. So coming back around, I just wanted to say that. Okay. If this is interesting, of course, please do hit the like button, pass it on to somebody who might need it. And if you have any questions, I'm going to be here for a couple more minutes. I'm happy to ask any questions. I can ask questions too. You can see I'm in one of my ups, my badass days. The sky's blue. If you have anything that you're struggling with or you're excited about, please drop it in there. I'm here. I'll wait a couple more minutes. I want to say too that in the last 24 hours, I've been putting energy out to one of my previous clients who has been on a pause out of country, and my thoughts are with you. Let's give her a little energy. She's doing something she already did now because she's on a different time zone. Did something a little bit out of the ordinary to see about making her dreams come true around fertility. And we may share that with you if things feel right. That may be a story to share in the future in a sort of anonymous way. But, there's so many things that we can't even imagine that are out there, and you have to trust what is right for you. And sometimes it's about going into the mind body. Sometimes it's doing something scientific. Sometimes it's both. Your path is yours. And while I will always encourage the natural path because I believe in what's possible, there are unique stories, and your story is unique because it's you. Imagine there are billions of people on the planet and there's only one of you. Isn't that fascinating? I think that's fascinating. So your path, there's not a cookie cutter way. I'm never going to sell a cookie cutter way. This is the way to do it. It's just not, because you're you. And that may feel like you're encouraged. That may amplify feeling alone because your story is yours. And yet there's little tiny aspects, some bigger, some smaller, where we cross over and we support one another. Yeah. That's what I have to say today. I don't see any questions right now. That's great. That's fine. You can reflect and take a moment and come back around and drop something in the comments. I do answer them. I'm so thankful that you're here, for you, and to feel that vibe of creating something. You have a right. I give you permission. I give you permission to do things in the way that is right for you. That's really important. And I just wanted to say that out loud. You're not alone. I'm Coach Ariel Anderson. I'm signing off. I wish you a beautifully imperfect day. Be exactly the human person that you're meant to be in every moment that it feels possible. And sometimes even when it doesn't feel possible. I'm just going to light that flashlight on the path behind me and in front, and see where you land. Take care. See you next week at 10. Bye-bye.